Radio Corporation of America presents The Magic Key. Through the universal radio service of the Radio Corporation of America, the Magic Key of RCA turns to present an hour of entertainment from New York City, New Orleans, and Rio de Janeiro, featuring Rudy Valley and his Connecticut Yankees, Gene Raymond, supported by Sidney Fox in a scene from his new starring motion picture, Love on a Bet, Francia White, popular young radio and light opera soprano, the sterling performances of Hannah Klein and Pauline Gilbert on two pianos, John B. Kennedy in a special Mardi Gras feature, and Frank Black and the NBC Symphony Orchestra playing first the brilliantly rhythmic Polonaise from Tchaikovsky's Eugenie Onegin.
At the famous Juilliard School of Music a few months ago, two young girl pianists, both exceptionally brilliant, both holding fellowships, listened with interest to the suggestion of their teacher, Madame Olga Samarov-Stakovsky, that they form a team. Together, said Madame Stakovsky, they had a chance of becoming one of the most remarkable musical combinations of the era. Today, that prediction is on the verge of being realized. Hannah Klein and Pauline Gilbert expect to make their concert debut next season. The former of these two young artists is well known to radio listeners through her several years' association with Major Bowes' Capitol family. But today, Miss Klein and Miss Gilbert appear together for the first time on a national network. The Magic Key of RCA turns to Hannah and Pauline Gilbert, playing first Duvenoir's brilliant Rolling Fire. From the pyrotechnics of that rendition, Miss Klein and Miss Gilbert turn to something in a more romantic mood. They bring us now Gracia from Infante's charming Andalusian dances. Among the box office records of this booming theatrical season, some of the newest and most spectacular are being established by one of Hollywood's most likable young men in a series of personal appearances in eastern cities. As if this were not enough, the gossips of the picture colony are already buzzing with the excited comment that Gene Raymond's new RKO radio picture, Love on a Bet, will be the first surprise hit of 1936, and will also make Mr. Raymond more popular than ever with the American public. In today's radio version of a portion of the picture, Mr. Raymond is supported by the charming young screen star Sidney Fox and the well-known radio actress Alice Frost in the parts played in the picture by Wendy Barry and Helen Broderick. The Magic Key of RCA turns to Gene Raymond, who will himself describe the circumstances of the scene. Mr. Raymond.
Michael McRae finds himself the victim of a bet that's slightly insane. But being slightly insane himself, it's just the kind of a bet you'd expect him to make. His wealthy uncle wants him to go in the meatpacking business. But Michael himself wants to be a play producer, so they make a wager. If Michael can leave New York with no money, attired only in a suit of underwear, and arrive 10 days later in Los Angeles with $100, a new suit, and a lovely girl willing to marry him, then he wins. And the uncle puts up the money to back the play. But if Michael loses, he goes to work in the meatpacking plant. As we fade in, it's early morning of Michael's second day out of New York. So far, he has managed to acquire an ex-soldier's uniform and an overnight job as a desk clerk in a small country hotel. He's also met the girl. Her name is Paula Gilbert, and she and her Aunt Charlotte are driving to Los Angeles. They gave Michael the lift that's taken him this far and went right up to their room. The bet is now beginning to seem less and less important. What Michael really wants is a few minutes alone with the girl. So he thinks of a pretext that brings her downstairs to the comfortable lobby of the little hotel.
Where's my message?
Message? What message?
That wire, telegram, whatever you said you had for me.
Oh, yes. It goes something like this. When you're alone in the world, hungry and cold, there's nothing like a log fire when you grow old. That's just to make it rhyme. You see, I dabble a bit in poetry.
There must be some kind of a law that could be passed against you.
Well, I'd suggest writing to your congressman. Here's a pen.
I might have known it would be something like this.
Oh, don't go upstairs again. You'll freeze. Come on down to the fire and warm yourself.
I'm just trying to decide whether freezing to death won't be more pleasant than being with you.
Well, all my life I've been known as the lesser of two evils. Now, here's the first row center seat, right in front of the fireplace. Why don't you try it? Yeah, that's right. You know, I think you're being unfair to me. If you'd let me, I'd try to give you a rough idea of what I'm like.
That's what I'm afraid of.
All right. I don't have to throw myself away on you. I have a sixth sense that always tells me when I'm not wanted.
Where are you going? You can't leave me alone.
Leave your seat. I'm just getting some marshmallows to toast.
Must you do that? I despise the odor of toasted marshmallows.
Ah, that's probably because in your youth, you were exposed to improperly toasted marshmallows. There's quite a group of you. The psychological term is, if you'll excuse the expression, marshmallow dislike 'em.
Isn't there any hope for it?
Fortunately, yes. The cure isn't far off. It involves a gradual breaking down of the marshmallow resistance. But it must be done carefully, scientifically, by trained, expert toasters. You see, there are various degrees of marshmallow toasting. I myself am a 32nd degree toaster.
I congratulate you.
Thank you. Delicious. Now, take the beginner or neophyte group. For example, a group of Boy Scouts, untutored, eager. What do?
A good deed a day, I'm told.
Well, let's skip the Boy Scouts. Here, try toasting one yourself. Here's a stick.
I've never really done this before. A frankfurter or two, but never marshmallows.
No, there's nothing to be afraid of. Just keep your head down, your eye on the marshmallow, and follow through.
Like this?
You belong to the cautious or once over lightly group. Closer. Don't singe it. Toast it. Ah, there. There you are. That's perfect. Now, taste it.
That's good.
Cured?
Completely. What are you doing out bumming rides on the road? You don't look like a hobo type.
Well, that's a series of long stories. All of them, I hope, with happy endings. Someday when we have time, I'll tell you all about it. Meantime, have another marshmallow on me.
to turn on the radio.
Well, won't that wake your Aunt Charlotte?
No. Poor darling. She's all in, worrying that we won't get to Los Angeles in time.
In time for what?
Nice music. Do you dance well?
No, not very. I'm a rugged individualist. When I dance, the orchestra goes its way, and I go mine. Now, let's talk instead. How long are you going to be in Los Angeles?
Not very long. I think I'm sailing to China.
China? Missionary work?
In a way, yes.
Well, can't you stay? You know, I have a feeling that any moment I'll need saving.
I'm afraid not.
Well, at least you'll let me write, won't you?
No, I don't think you'd better.
Oh, I wouldn't bother you much with my letters. All I'd say would be, "Dear Paula, having fine time, wish you were here."
As long as you're not going to write. Couldn't you make it a little stronger? Like, dearest Paula?
All right. Dearest Paula, having fine time. Wish you were here with me. Always. Don't you see what I'm trying to say? I'm in love with you, Paula, hopelessly.
Michael, if you knew the kind of person I am, you wouldn't say that.
But I am saying it. I love everything about you, the way you smile and the way you frown. I love the way you talk and the way you won't talk, like the first time I met you. Would you mind very much if I kissed you?
I'd mind very much if you didn't.
I'm glad if I'm intruding.
Oh, Aunt Charlotte, I just came downstairs because I was cold.
I noticed you managed to warm up. Come upstairs this minute and pack if we're ever going to get to Los Angeles.
There's plenty of time.
Plenty of time. We just can't get there 5 minutes before the boat sails.
Hush, Aunt Charlotte.
Don't hush me. Hush Jackson Wallace after he's married you and taken you to China. Now hurry. We're going to get an early start.
I suppose best wishes are in order.
Michael, I didn't mean...
Obviously, you didn't mean anything. You were just rehearsing. How did I do?
If you keep quiet for a minute and
That's
let me
perfectly
explain...
all right. I can't tell you whom to marry. It's your life.
Michael, you're behaving like a perfect fool.
I have up until now, but I'm learning things. Oh, yes, another few days with you, and I'd have had a liberal education.
Now, just a minute, mister. Before you go any further, I've got a few things
You
to
don't
say.
have to tell me anything. You don't owe me anything.
Yes, I owe you this. I am getting married, purely for money, for lots of money. What do you think of that?
I think you're a smart girl.
And I think you're too dumb to understand anything.
Paula, will you please go upstairs and get ready? And as for you, young man, what are you putting your coat on for?
Well, I figured on being your chauffeur.
When did you think that up?
Just now.
Michael.
Aunt Charlotte, I'll be a model boy from now on. I'll sit in the front of the car and drive, and I won't say a word.
You may not say a word, young man, but it won't be in the front of our car.
Oh, but if you should have motor trouble or a flat tire crossing the Arizona desert, well, there's nothing like having a man around to fix the thingamajigs.
Are you by any chance inviting yourself to drive clear across to California with us? If you are, forget it. We can fix our own thingamajigs.
We really ought to have someone on Charlotte in case the car breaks down.
Come, ladies, decide. I'm practically giving myself away, but it's a clearance sale at the McRae's, and I'm half off.
That's putting it mildly.
We really need someone, Aunt Charlotte.
By the time we get to Los Angeles, we'll be as batty as he is.
That's better than not getting there at all. And I won't be able to do much driving, you know. I burned my hand on the motor at that last stop, remember?
Well, this is against my better judgment.
Oh, the best fun in life is against our better judgment.
May I quote you on that, young man?
Certainly.
Well, come along if you're coming.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Hey, which hand was it you burned, Paula?
You know, I'll be darned if I can remember.
Oh, I see. I knew you were a smart girl.
I'll go up and get my bag. Meet you here in 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'll get my pay, and I'll meet you here in 5 minutes. Paula.
Yes?
Paula, why go to China when you can see America first?
Like so many of your favorite motion pictures, Love on a Bet was recorded by RCA Photophone high-fidelity equipment. You may have noticed headlined in your local newspaper this past week reports of a vital new improvement in motion picture recording. This improvement, which involves the use of ultraviolet rays, will open a new realism in the reproduction of music and voices. And this advance was made possible solely through the efforts of RCA Photophone engineers. There is really no field connected with sound reproduction into which RCA does not enter, and from each it extracts something in the way of knowledge, skill, new ideas. For example, the superlative tone of your RCA Victor Magic Brain radio with its magic eye and RCA metal tubes is due, in part, to the knowledge gained by RCA engineers in perfecting sound motion pictures. And in the field of radio transmission, the National Broadcasting Company sends programs into your home more effectively because of experience gained by RCA engineers in developing the international radio circuits of RCA communications, which provide the fastest, more direct means of contact between 47 different foreign countries and between many of the larger cities of the United States. In this way, drawing upon carefully correlated knowledge and diversified experience in all phases of radio transmission and sound reproduction, members of the family of RCA offer you every facility in the field of radio for business and for pleasure. That is what we mean by the universal radio service of RCA.
Frank Black conducts the NBC Symphony Orchestra in a selection especially appropriate to this season of the year. Mardi Gras, from the Mississippi Suite of Ferdy Grothe. From one of the most popular operettas by Franz Lehár, Miss Francia White has chosen her second selection this afternoon. Love is a Pilgrim. Time of frolic, time of festival, Mardi Gras, when King Carnival reigns supreme. Only 3 days now till Lent begins, and in countless cities of the world, people are making the most of that interval. Shall we join the merrymakers? In New Orleans, Mardi Gras capital of the North American continent, John B. Kennedy, noted NBC news commentator, waits to act as our guide. The Magic Key of RCA turns now to Mr. Kennedy in New Orleans.
Good afternoon, all. Here in old New Orleans, it's actually snowing, but thank heaven it's snowing confetti for the Mardi Gras. Flying over New Orleans, we saw roads thick with cars from all points of the compass. 500,000 merrymakers stroll the streets under palm trees whose olive fronds gleam in the warming sun. Old New Orleans is jammed to the shores of Old Man River, Mississippi. The hotels need rubber roofs to hold the crowds. I slept in a place near the racetrack last night, and when I complained of noise in the next room, they told me it wasn't a man, but a horse. Out in the Vieux Carré section, the original French settlement, with its streets of twisted iron balconies, they have standing room only, so that even the ghosts have to haunt the houses sideways. Mardi Gras is what in English we call Shrove Tuesday, the final feast before the spiritual discipline of the 40-day Lenten fast. Let's take a brief preview peep at a rehearsal of the grand climax of Mardi Gras, the Bal Masque, which thousands will attend Tuesday night at the Municipal Auditorium.
Let's take that other spot, and this is the most important spot of the whole evening. Let's take that Grand March from Aida one more time at the spot where the king and queen make their entrance. And that has to be plenty big and solid. You understand, of course. Now,
That's the way you'll get it.
All right.
Miles away from the business district is the Mid-City Carnival Association, one of the great New Orleans civic associations. In just a moment, the bands and the gorgeously colored mule-drawn floats will pass through these doors to parade the streets of this section. In fact, there it goes now. We're in the exact heart of old New Orleans, in the kitchen of Antoine's, one of the world's most famous restaurants, where gay Mardi Gras is underway. Let me introduce Roy Alciator, third-generation owner of Antoine's.
Comment ça va? How do you do?
Monsieur Alciator, nearly every celebrity adorns your walls here. Marshal Foch over there, what was his favorite dish?
Bouillabaisse.
And Charlie Chaplin's?
Papano papillon.
And what was Babe Ruth's?
Sweet Meunier. But what is your favorite?
Corned beef and cabbage.
No, pas ici.
Well, thanks just the same. Here is a typical Creole belle. Here with the crowds, Mardi grazing. What's your name, my dear?
Yvonne Leblanc.
Will you tell us exactly what a Creole is? We know it's a sauce, but it also seems to be a sorceress.
Why, we Creoles are pure-blood descendants of the old French settlers in Louisiana.
And you've always celebrated Mardi Gras?
Oh, for generations, before we give up gaiety, for Lent.
Well, what are you really going to give up during Lent?
Oh, cocktails and second helpings at meals. What are you going to give up, Mr. Kennedy?
Oh, the fourth dimension and alcohol rubs.
Comment alors des huit Rockefeller?
Des huit Rockefeller.
What? Is the mayor? The mayor is at the door.
Well, the mayor's at the door. I want to ask him to come in. Will you come in, please, Mayor Walmsley? Please. Will you say a word?
Oh, yes. Pardon. I have Mayor LaGuardia and four of the mayors here. All I can say is welcome to everybody for New Orleans. We're grand and our largest Mardi Gras.
That's about the swellest mayoralty speech I ever heard. And here's Richard Crooks of the Metropolitan Opera. Dick, please say a word.
Well, quite naturally, I've come here to enjoy a fine meal, the sunshine, and this great Mardi Gras.
Mardi Gras. They call music after it, they call horses after it, and they call doctors after it. After all, it makes children rejoice, and adults children again. And unless we are as little children, we know we cannot enter the kingdom of heaven or have very much fun on earth. The Magic Key of RCA returns you to New York.
And that's the way the ancient festival of Mardi Gras looks when translated to these United States of America. But how about lands farther south, where Latin blood predominates and romance and glamour cling to even the everyday activity? Let's see how Rio de Janeiro, capital of Brazil, celebrates Mardi Gras. Once more, we call upon the Universal Radio Service of RCA as the Magic Key turns, speeding us southeastward 5,000 miles to Rio de Janeiro.
Rio Carnival once again. Brilliant sunshine, crowded streets, with people in all kinds of fancy dress. Streamers and confetti galore. The carnival procession extends in double line over 3 miles in length down the Avenida Rio Branco and out along the shores of the marvelous Guanabara Bay. Listen. Crowds are gathering around the microphone here in the street, all wishing to have their voices heard in the United States of America.
Hello, New York, how are you?
And so the Rio Carnival goes along in madding spirits, in the street, fancy dress balls in clubs and casinos, tonight and for the next 2 days. Unfortunately, the Magic Key of RCA turns speeding you back to New York.
About once in a generation, an entertainer comes along who, by some rare quality within him, is able to make himself a kind of institution, a permanent public favorite. 9 years ago, Yale University graduated such a one into the entertainment field. Rudy Valley, singer, actor, orchestra leader, and master of ceremonies par excellence. Mr. Valley first sprang into prominence by definitely revolutionizing methods of popular singing. And ever since, he's been a molding influence in entertainment. He is as well known in Hollywood as on Broadway. Indeed, he and the Connecticut Yankees, his famous Victor Recording Orchestra, are famed throughout the world. On the radio, the Fleischmann's Yeast Hour, by courtesy of which he appears on this program, is among the most popular hours on the air. And at the same time, he is starring on the musical comedy stage in the new 1936 Scandal. The Magic Key of RCA turns to Rudy Valley.
Hi-ho, everybody. The first of our 2 popular compositions is what our friends seem to think is one of our best Victor recordings. It's from the English picture starring that very lovely and versatile creature, Jessie Matthews. The picture, First a Girl. The tune, Everything's in Rhythm with My Heart. Everything's in rhythm with my heart. The flowers that grow and the breezes that blow seem to go with the flow of my song. And the song I sing's in rhythm with my heart. Every creature seems to take a part. Oh, the birds in the sky keep in time when they fly way up high as they migrate in spring. Even spring begins in rhythm with my heart. makes no difference where I go, on land or on sea. All hearts are dancing with me, they understand. Everyone's in tempo, even children at play. The world is happy and gay. It's grand, oh, everything's in rhythm with my heart. The rhythm is sweet, even crowds in the street move their feet to the beat of my song. Oh, everything's in rhythm with my heart. I sing this tune nightly to Gracie Barry and the Scandals of 36. The recording of it on the RCA Victor record was the good fortune of my English colleague, Ray Noble, and his very excellent Dancipation. This is a sort of cross-section of the way we do it in Scandals. I'm the fellow who loves you. My heart set on mingling with the smart set. I've never been impressed by blue bloods and care much less for parvenu bloods. You're of the upper classes, I'm of the lowly masses. I'm going to have my say I'm an ordinary guy, just getting by. But I dare to tell you, I'm the fellow who loves you. Living on the avenue, among the who's who. I don't care, I tell you, I'm the fellow who loves you. Your folks have been pillars of society for hundreds of years. My folks are the everyday variety. Your father eats in tails and white shirts. My father sleeps in flannel nightshirts. Still, it gives me the grandest thrill. Here's me plain Bill, telling gorgeous you that I'm the fellow who loves you. Been pillars of society for hundreds of years. My folks were the everyday variety. Your dear papa is a man of ease. I think mine is a guy on the flying trapeze. Still, it gives me the grandest thrill. Here's me plain Bill, telling gorgeous you that I'm the fellow who
Will you listen for a moment to a scene that may be taking place now, this very instant, in thousands of homes throughout the country?
Why does that darn radio keep swelling and fading this way? It did the same thing last Thursday night while we were listening to Rudy Valley.
I know. Isn't it a pity? With all the fine programs the National Broadcasting Company sends out every hour of the day. Oh, I do wish we could afford one of those RCA Victor Magic Brain radios like the Tuckers have.
Well, we can't.
I know, dear. But it does seem a pity. They get such perfect reception always. And then it's such fun and so easy tuning in stations with the magic eye.
Yes, of course, of course. Everybody knows what a wonderful radio it is, but we just can't afford one, that's all.
But that's not all, if you'll pardon the contradiction. Now hundreds of thousands of people throughout the country can afford, as they couldn't before, an RCA Victor radio with Magic Brain, Magic Eye, and RCA metal tubes. Greatly increased sales, combined with the vast RCA Victor resources, have made possible the introduction of two new models, the C819 and the C820, both full-sized radio consoles incorporating all the fine RCA Victor features for only $89.95 FOB Camden, New Jersey. That's almost $30 less than you formerly had to pay for such an instrument. Why not see your RCA Victor dealer tomorrow? Convenient terms can be arranged.
selection just concluded was the lively Slavonic Dance No. 1 by the great Czech composer Dvorak, played for you by the NBC Symphony Orchestra, conducted by Frank Black, Director of Music for the National Broadcasting Company.
We cordially invite you to be with us next Sunday, when the Magic Key will turn again and members of the family of RCA will present a special program featuring the Minneapolis Symphony Orchestra under the direction of Eugene Ormandy, Cornelia Otis Skinner, the eminent pianist Misha Levitsky, and John B. Kennedy. This is Ben Grauer
and Milton Cross speaking for one member of the family of RCA, the National Broadcasting Company.